Hi, this is Mark Mortensen presenting a little mini course for the analysts of Analysis Mason Telecom software. This one is on how to turn a briefing into a fee sale. I've been reasonably successful in having briefings and suggesting to customers that they really ought to do some fee work. And how do I do it? Well, here's a little guide. First of all, let's take a look at what happens during a briefing. On the left hand side here you see 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that basically happen. There's the introductions around the table, the customer tells us about their product or service, they kind of summarize their story, and then we should have a follow-up. What are we going to do? And often we ought to say that we're going to have a vendor snapshot review, that we're going to put together a little snapshot or a comment, or perhaps, as getting ahead of myself, a meeting to discuss custom work. So what are the messages that you should get into that set you up for being able to sell fee work? Well, first of all, during the introductions, you have to get the idea across. I am an expert, and I have a knowledge that you probably don't have, but I'm an expert and I have access to many colleagues who are experts. So it's not just you, but it's also your colleagues. During the briefing, you have to ask a couple of questions, make a couple of comments, or perhaps even challenge some of the things to give the idea that we really get it, that we understand this, and also that we have some information that they don't have, but they really should have. That's kind of the hook that really gets them, that makes them think, wow, you guys know something here. I kind of need to know that. So little comments about, oh yes, we've found that that happens 30% of the time, or we did a study in that area, or something or we did a white paper in that area also, and discuss some advanced aspect that they haven't covered here. Third, when they summarize a story, you really ought to go in there and talk about, here's what we could do for you also in order to help you either get your story out or improve the story or whatever. I'll go through that in a moment. And finally, you really should have the follow-up at the end. Leave that time at the end to really talk about what is going to be the follow-up, and have some follow-up, either a vendor snapshot review. That's a real good one. Or some comment or whatever that really gives you another connection to the customer after the briefing, rather than just a thank you very much. So things that you might suggest here. The first thing, just obvious, right? The market positioning paper. It's a paper that would be based around a software product that says, hey, this is something good, you should look at it, to the market. If they have something new here, especially, that's a good thing to really push. And a good example was when Hewlett Packard had its service assurance and service fulfillment integrated story together. I said, geez, nobody's told that story before. Let us help you tell that story. A webinar basically based on the market positioning paper. Always package it up. Package it up as a separate thing if you can, though, so that you don't have a project that spreads out a long time. A case study. If they're mentioning that they have a customer who is going to implement it or has just implemented it, really suggests that they really ought to do a case study here, and the importance of having the case study done from an independent source such as us. Stress that even the big boys do that we've done things like that for NSN and Oracle and others when they've gone into a new space. A thought leadership white paper. This is a tough one, right? And these are more expensive and a little bit harder. But it's a non-product related paper that attempts to give them a position in a particular space as a thought leader, even if they don't have a product. Large companies often use this as kind of as paper hanging. If you have a crack in your wall, by the way, in your house, you put wallpaper there, and it heads the crack. Oracle in particular and others use this as an entree to have a CX level talk. There's a white paper with some provocative information in it, and they say, geez, they'll send this to a CIO, a CTO, a president, whatever, and they'll say, this is what we'd like to talk to you about. It becomes an entree for a high-level meeting. If they're getting into a new market or either a functional area or a geographic area, these kind of thought leadership white papers are very useful. Perhaps a benefits or an ROI investigation. Why would someone want to buy this? What are the numbers behind it? If they have a weak story, come in and suggest something like that. Or finally, by the way, a strategy session. Certainly one of the more comprehensive things. If they're really weak in their understanding of their market and their differentiating features, what makes them special, this is the kind of thing that you want to suggest. A day-long session where we go through the market, where they fit, a SWOT, and help them potentially about how they can maximize this new product or service. Well, that's basically it. The important thing is to find some hook that happens in there that they're interested in, and then get something going right away with them. If you don't get it going right away, then this languishes, and it just becomes just one other briefing among the hundreds that they've done and the hundreds that you've done. Hope this has helped. Let me know. This is Mark Mortensen out.